So one of the things that I think is misunderstood about leadership is that it's not just from the top. Leaders have to set the environment for sure, and leaders have to lead by example for sure. But this is our organization. This is your organization. Like nobody gets to sit on the sidelines and be like, all right, what have you done for me lately, right? I don't even mind negativity. People are like, oh my goodness, that person's such a negative Nelly. But because sometimes negative people who are in the fight and they're still willing to, they show up every day, they're great. It's when people are negative and they just stand on the sides and throw stones. I don't mean like, bring me solutions. That's not what I mean. I mean just like you're in it. You're in the scrum and you're willing to be a part of it. So like you have to come to work here every day. There's a great story when Gordon Bethune took over Continental Airlines, which existed prior to United. They merged. It was a terrible airline. It was the worst rated airline in the country for every metric. And one of the things that was bad was the planes were always dirty. And the customers would always complain, and they would always get yelled at by management, clean the planes for the customer. The customers are complaining. And when Gordon Bethune showed up, he said, forget about the customer. They're on the plane, they're off the plane in 3 hours. You're going to have to do 4 more flights before your shift is done. Why don't you clean the plane for yourselves? Like, this is your office. Like, why don't you keep it nice for yourself? In fact, there's a funny statistic between UPS trucks and US Postal Service trucks, which is US Postal Service trucks, I think they only last about 2 years before they have to be replaced. And UPS trucks last something like 5 years before they have to get replaced. UPS, they clean their trucks every single day. And US Postal Service trucks, they clean their trucks once a week. Because when you give somebody something really nice to work in, they look after it. And so like, it becomes incumbent upon all of us to say, this is when we're talking about leadership, which is if you see someone struggling, go to them. If you see someone who's unhappy, maybe go to them. If somebody's stuck in a false narrative, maybe help them change their narrative. Give them a safe space to feel heard. Sometimes people just need to empty their bucket. Some people sometimes just need to vent and get it all out, and then they're actually fine. And sometimes what we do by mistake is try and interrupt them, correct the facts, fix the problem. And so we can be that. Like, you can be that for the people you work with. That's a huge part of it. Like, taking responsibility for the organization in which you work. Yes, leadership does bear some responsibility, of course, but I think everybody in the organization is included in that as well. We want people not to just fit the culture, but to be additive and contribute to the culture.